let's start with the pros, because it's always good to start with a positive. We are seeing money being allocated to help a lot of women that usually may or may not choose to go into certain areas, such as the skilled trades or take the lead in agriculture, that sort of thing. So there is money there to start that ball rolling, and that's a good thing. And also in terms of getting women into starting small businesses easier. I think dedicating some money for that specifically is a good thing, and ensuring that we have more people in the marketplace is also a good thing. There is money for broadband internet included in that. The problem is there has been money in the last two budgets for broadband internet and cell service. We still have an application from the Eastern Ontario Regional Network to improve cell service and internet where there are gaps, because that ball has started rolling, but there still are gaps, especially in Haliburton County, and I believe in parts of Peterborough County. So that application has been almost a year before the federal government, waiting on some kind of decision. And again, we're in a holding pattern. The issue with those applications is technology changes so fast that by the time the study goes in, the application goes in, funding is approved, that technology is already almost outdated. And the issue that we're having now as a society is that more usage of the bandwidth is being used for data and not voice. And using data takes a lot more. So we do need to address that very quickly.
How do we, let's dig into that one a little bit more, because it is such a big issue for our area, and we have the good work going on at EORN, the Eastern Ontario Regional Network. But how do we solve that? I mean, it's an infrastructure issue, it's technology issue, it's return on investment, it's a mix of private sector, public sector. So somewhere in there, I think there's a solution.
Yes, I agree. Yes, somewhere in there is a solution. It is tough too, because governments want to be accountable to taxpayers for the money they are spending, so they need to take a certain look at things. But also there is, I think, a line between what is reasonable and what is not in terms of waiting. And do we need to wait a year or more for this to have some kind of resolution to it? I would say probably not. I think we all agree there are gaps, whether it be internet or cell service. So the more we wait, the more the technology becomes dated.
Yeah, and I guess there's an economic impact to that waiting as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, more people want to work at home. And that's a good thing, especially in Haliburton County where there are gaps, but you have people from the city that spend the weekends at their cottage that would probably bookend it a bit on, a Friday or Monday, stay at their cottage a little longer, and if they could have access to internet. And that means that they would probably spend more money at the grocery store, more money at restaurants or what have you, and that would help the economy. Because in Haliburton County, in certain parts, the winters can be long. So we need to optimize the seasons where we can cash in on some of those opportunities. And until that happens, there's a whole sector that we're losing out on.
Interesting. So we talked about the pros of the budget, so happy to see broadband, money to help women access capital, all of those sorts of things with skilled trades and agriculture. What are some of the challenges that you see with that particular document?
Well, not to mention the $18 billion budget or deficit that is in this budget. That is a huge concern because the budget now, with no new spending, with everything going along well, it'll be a quarter century before it's balanced. That basically means we are running the credit card on the programs that we want now. So in future generations, the opportunity to be more flexible or divert funds to priorities will get tougher as we go along. And we already see in Ontario, the budget, the third biggest item on the budget is healthcare, education, interest on the debt.
Yeah, and that's where the challenge is.
Yes.
It's having that be number three, and what it's not being spent on, if it's being spent on.
It's almost $1 billion a month. Think what you could do with $12 billion. That's just the interest. That's not talking about the principle. We're not
Right.
knocking this down.
Yeah.
That's just the interest. But think about what you could do, whether it be in healthcare, you could build schools, you could do a whole wide range of things, build more roads, more rail. That would be nice. You know, there's so many things that we could do with that money. Instead, we're spending it federally on program spending, not. See, the previous government, when they ran the deficit, that was it during the recession. They needed to give the economy a shot in the arm. So a decision was made that we're going to invest in infrastructure. So it's targeted temporary.
Right.
Okay? And that started the economy rolling along. We were on a roll. We had a balanced budget by the end of it. The job creation was the best in the G7. We had the lowest taxes in 50 years. And now we are running, you know, budget deficits in good times.
And my understanding of economics is that you want to try and save in good
Exactly.
times, even though that is one of the more difficult things to do.